Hey, 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 hey. How are we doing, folks? Yes, we are here back with Player 2, where I bring some friends to help me understand and make you understand better how everything works on this market. And here with me today, someone that is creating content for Stadia. Yeah, dedicated for Stadia. And he's here with me, Mr. Eddie Player 1.
Hello, Marcel. Hello, guys. Eddie
How are we
Player 1
doing?
at the Player 2.
At the Player 2, how fun is that?
That's awesome. So if we have Player 1 and Player 2, we are ready for a match.
Oh yeah. So Eddie, can you explain me how you start this idea of creating content for Stadia, which is a new service, and it's a cloud service, and everything is brand new. You know, I'm a big fan of Stadia. You know that, and I have the chance to participate in your show as well. It was great, but I want to listen from you the very early stage on creating a dedicated channel content for Stadia. How'd that start?
So it all started back in March 2019 when Google presented Stadia at the GDC, which is a game development conference. When I saw that presentation, I knew that Google was doing a presentation on the game development conference. I didn't know what I had idea what it was. But when I saw that, I had the same feeling when the first smartphone came.
Really?
The very first one, like
which
when
one?
Steve Jobs.
Oh, you mean the iPhone? The iPhone.
Yeah, because that presentation of the iPhone, I was always using at the time it wasn't smartphones, but it was phones with the stylus pen, where you would go with the stylus. And I remember at the time I was working at IBM. My boss brought me an iPhone to present to myself. I said, okay, but where's the stylus pen? And she showed me like this. I said, no, that's not wrong. That's not right. I need the pen.
We need the pen. I know. I remember that was one of the breakthroughs, right? Like, don't have any kind of interface than yourself on the phone. Yes. Also, the screen was really different. The way it interacts with everything. I remember that. But
yeah. So
you know, like something that is interesting about that time is that was I wouldn't say it was easier to do breakthrough technology. It's always hard to do breakthrough technology, but was a feeling of, oh my god, this will change everything.
Exactly. That's the same feeling that I had when I saw the presentation from Google, because we are not used to this. We are only used to having dedicated devices. We have been on this the whole gaming life, and you can see by the amount of things you have behind you that we love as a gamer. We love to hold stuff, and it was a breakthrough on technology and on mind as well. And we know that we are going on that direction. We already went on that direction with movies. We already went on that direction with music, and now it is time for game. So when I saw all of that in the new platform appearing, there wasn't at the time much people talking about Stadia. The media started talking about Stadia, but they didn't comprehend Stadia properly, or didn't wanted to understand what was proposed over there. Like, is this the next Netflix for games? What is this about? Is this I will download the game and play the game offline? Even people to this day say, hey, Stadia would be great if I could download my game and play whenever I'm not online. You are not understanding the concept.
Tons of people, they still not understand at all how it works. And I remember a conversation we had, right? Like, the problem is Google has a problem to present it as a video game, and they insist to present as a service. So when they break this barrier to present, oh, this is the Google video game, maybe things will run smoother, or will take a long time until people figure out this is a service for games. But then it's hard to break that barrier. But you break that barrier right away. You notice, like, this is the future, and that's why you jump on this idea of creating content.
Yeah, so when I saw that, and I saw the opportunity, I have always, to this day, I watch over 20, 40 hours of YouTube per week. So I always watch it and I always enjoy it. And I said, I feel like I can contribute to this community that it was so-called community to born, because every platform has a community that surrounds the platform. We have a lot of people on Nintendo Switch. We have the smaller communities on games. Like I love Super Mario Maker 2, and I know there's a community around that game. And there are a community on PlayStation. There's a community on Xbox. There are a community on PC players. And I said, you know what? I want to be part of this community on the cloud gaming because, first of all, it doesn't exist right now. I know there's the service GeForce Now, but it's a different thing from what Google was presenting. Because what Google was presenting was a cloud platform that would do a lot of different things. When on with GeForce Now, for example, is just you playing the games you have on PC, paying a service, and then you play the game on a mobile device, for example.
Yeah, not only that, there are so many advantages what Google present as a complete idea how cloud gaming should do or behave, or what kind of service to be presented, you know. Like I said service here, they should not say service, but I'm saying service because there's so many things you can add as a whole in terms of cloud gaming when you have everything on the server, and
Right.
and you can add stuff on that. So
Yeah, like
but you got the whole idea from the beginning, because even for me, when I saw the cloud gaming for the first time, I said, okay, this is the future, it's clear. But I saw from the economic perspective first, from the finance perspective, like you don't need to buy a console, you don't need to, you know, buy anything more. There is hardware anymore. The upgrades of hardware, all those things, they will be in the past because the hardware now is on the server, so you just pay for the subscription, you have everything. So that was my first reaction. I said, okay, this is the future. But did you get all the things related to the service right away? Because I didn't get it. I didn't get it in the first glance.
I kind of got it because I always have been a techie person. So I had all of already my mind go crazy sometimes. And when they presented, all right, this is where we're going to do with the cloud, and this is the potential of, for example, you are in the middle of a game and you press a button and the game will interact with you. And then my mind started going everywhere. And I saw that, in fact, that's the only, this kind of thing can only be done with cloud gaming. The hardware, like the new consoles, the PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X, they have a limitation. When on cloud, you have all of the power of the world in terms of processing to do different things. So when I saw that, I said, "Oh my God, the possibilities are endless." I don't know if you remember, it was a presentation from Google when they showed a technology called duplex.
I remember that.
So I started thinking, all right, they will develop games when I will speak to an NPC. I will press a button on my controller. I will start to speak with an NPC, and it doesn't matter the language because the game will translate. And I started going crazy. I said, oh my God, this indeed is the future, but we will take some time to get there. So in the meantime, I want to be part of this whole foundation. I hope like supporting from the very beginning so the platform continue to grow. They already have put out thousands and millions of dollars on this. So
they keep doing for sure.
Yeah, I cannot wait to play like the Westworld experience game.
Yeah, but you know, like one thing about creating content, it's straight related as well to the available market you have.
Right.
So if we look to number of players today, PlayStation still have, as a platform, they still have the huge, probably the biggest number, for sure, the biggest number of players worldwide. And we are talking about English language, which reflects as well. I would say number 2 would be Nintendo, if the Nintendo platform as a whole, if you consider the DS, the Switch, and everything around it. But if you go to Xbox, it would be number 3. And then you have tons of others, not considering even smartphones, because smartphones, depends on the title you're talking about, can be huge, can be nothing. But going to Stadia is like brand new. It's like a baby. It's a cloud service. And there's another cloud service incoming as well, as we know. And there are cloud services before, just like you mentioned, the GeForce Now.
Right.
To be honest to you, if I'm about to start a channel or start to have content, right? I wouldn't pick Stadia to create content right away. I know about you being the first one. I know about this kind of feeling advantage you may have, right? But
exactly, yes.
But before that, you have to love the technology for itself. Number one. Number two, you have to understand, okay, this is a bet. I'm going to spend my time. I'm going to spend money. I'm going to spend whatever I have available to create this content. And this content takes a lot of efforts, right, to be done. You have to study, you have to go after, you have to play those games. And for sure, sooner or later, exclusive games like is happening now, it's starting to go to Stadia. And then you have to invest on those games more because they're available in the platform. Doesn't mean everybody knows. So the audience will be way smaller than any other you could start right now.
Yes.
So there is also a philosophical question
there was
behind
kind
it, right?
of a bet, if you may say, like, all right, I'm betting on this platform because I'm starting to create content and I'm creating content surrounding a platform that doesn't have a user base right now. When I started doing this, I felt if I am to create content on other platforms, I'm starting brand new. My channel, it's 1 year old. It started about October, 1 month before the Stadia release. And I know that there's going to be a very, very limited community. It's not like I'm launching on the PlayStation 5. So I know a lot of people on the video game. Well, all right, I want to start a video gaming channel. What I need to do? Like, I recently hit 1,000 subscribers after 1 year. If I was probably doing content focus on other things, I would probably already had 1,000 subscribers earlier. But if I am to give a suggestion to somebody starting content right now, it is find a community that you believe you're gonna fit, but you try to get something that's not too saturated on the market. So if you say, all right, I'm gonna start creating content about Fortnite, it's gonna be you and 100 million people doing that. So what's gonna be your differential?
It's not easy.
Doing?
At the same time, everybody knows there's a lot of players, so there's a big audience. That's quite clear, yeah. But also it's easier to grow. I mean, if you want numbers, right? It's easier to grow.
It's kind of because it's not that easy to grow if you are average. If you're doing the same thing as everybody else, why would somebody subscribe to you and not to that big personality? For example, if we're talking about Fortnite, 99% of the views go to Ninja, go to Courage JD, goes to guys who only play Fortnite for a living, and the other 1% would go to you, but that other 1% is going to be split with hundreds of millions of viewers.
Sure.
So the average for you to be there, I would say, start with something else. So if you like, for example, you are a fan of fighting games, you have always played fighting games, you're going to find a fighting community surround you of players who play fighting games, and then you start building content over there. After you are more comfortable and there's more people around you, and you have taken the first steps, you probably, all right, let me try something different here now. Let me try to bring other than fighting games. I'm gonna be bringing racing games. Let's see how my audience is gonna react on that. Because if you are huge, you can play whatever you want. Your audience will be there for you. But if you are starting brand new on something that nobody knows you and nobody knows anything about you, it's going to be very hard for you to create content on that.
So one thing that I think it's important here is that you select something you believe, something you like, something you love. But I also love the cloud gaming. Like, just arrived here. This thing just arrived here. I need to try. And here on the channel, I also did some comparisons, right? I did comparisons with the same game, like the Doom Eternal with Stadia and with the xCloud, whatever that service name is, because everywhere is a different name. But the Xbox xCloud, whatever you call it, and we can see how Stadia is advanced when you compare to probably the biggest player, in my opinion, right now that can make some kind of competition to Stadia is Xbox with xCloud. Not only the installed base, but also all the technology and ingredients that Microsoft has in-house. Now we have Amazon. Well. We have Amazon with Luna. Question to you. That's an important question that will define your future. Will you become a cloud gaming content creator or just Stadia?
That's an awesome question, because I changed my name of the channel, which was at the beginning Stadia Player 1, to Eddie Player 1, so I could talk about more platforms and some more other games that were not available on Stadia. Unfortunately, as you said, the service is new and they don't have all of the games yet. Like, we already know one of the games most sold on the year is Call of Duty, and the game is not available on Stadia and will not be on the foreseeable future. I love cloud gaming. I tried GeForce Now. I tried xCloud or Cloud Gaming Beta or whatever the name they select, as you said. But my experience so far has been best with Stadia. One thing to be clear before, I have never been a PC gamer. I know there are a lot of people who play on PC and enjoy the experience from playing on PC. I do kind of have a quite beefy PC. It's not that good, but it's beefy. But I have never enjoyed sit down and play with keyboard and mouse. A few games, but not that much. So I have always been a console gamer myself. And that's why services like GeForce Now, when I got logging into GeForce Now you log in into Ubisoft. Now you click here, now you click there, and now you can play the game. When right now with Stadia, I just click on my browser, and it's there, and I just select the game, and I'm playing the game. So the experience for me as a console gamer that I have always been in my life, right now Stadia feels better. Luna, unfortunately, I cannot give an opinion by myself because it's not available here in Canada. But I have some friends who have already access to Luna, and I saw their streamings playing on Luna, and it's good, but it's a very premature service. So on Luna, you cannot play on 4K. In Stadia, you can. On Luna, you don't have a friends list. And if you don't have a friends list, you can't play online games. So you don't have three things that I consider. Okay, 4K you can pass without having it, but those three things, these other two things, especially like playing multiplayer games is fun, and you cannot play. Okay, let's give it the time for the service to grow, and I feel like it can be a strong competitor.
Yeah, like Big Ed Bear here just mentioned that, like the amount of titles, right, will be a game changer. And we know that together with the titles, you need to have the technology. And we see the difference on Stadia because they have a better technology for streaming. Probably they have the best AI technology right now in the market in general that they can apply on a gaming service like this. But then, and I get really, really worried, it's the way those new players will play on the market. So let's try to exercise that, right? Marketing will be a big thing. Marketing on this area will be a big thing. How you communicate, how you tell people you have something compelling, how you show people you have something that is way beyond of the expect, how you break the bubble of people who understand what is the cloud game and people just want to have games and they think PS5 is the best. How you show you can compete on the same level. So if you look right now, I think someone like I saw something really interesting, like a comment on Elon Musk's Twitter account, but he didn't say that. He just agreed that the proof that design matters, it's Apple, and the proof that design doesn't matter, it's Amazon.
That is true.
That is quite true, right? So there's two extremes, right? So if I look to Stadia is way more like, okay, we need to do something that works from the fundamentals, and these fundamentals should be the base for everything, which is the technology behind it to make it available in 4K or with no lag or whatever you call it, everything related to the experience of the game. And in Amazon, you already said, okay, Luna right now don't have this, don't have that other thing. It's kind of crazy, right? But if you look to Amazon way of dealing with everything, it's like, okay, they start raw and they grow fast and they add stuff all the time, right? So that's Amazon way, let's say.
Everybody said that the launch of Amazon Luna, they had a commercial, and that commercial was way better than the launch commercial of Google Stadia.
Yeah, but I have the feeling. Okay, now we're gonna jump on that. We start talking before the live stream, right?
Yes.
Like, I think the launch on GDC of Stadia was good and bad at the same time. So number one, because GDC was the right place if you want to collect more developers. But the problem is, maybe it's too early for that, because a lot of people got the impression the service was not ready, especially media that don't understand from the developer side that there is a stages until we reach to the gold version, right? So in one hand it's okay, in the other hand, not really. That create a wave of people that hate the service without trying, just because some media have access to that and don't understand that was developer stage. Now we talk about the current stage where services start to become available public, and some of them is not quite ready yet. I can tell you that the xCloud is way behind Stadia, but come on, they have the ingredients to surpass that. And one thing that Microsoft team and Xbox team knows how to do is marketing. They're fighting against Sony on PlayStation's not an easy battle, right? And they find their way, they find their community. In the other hand, you have Amazon that has, just like Google, has infinite money. They have money forever, right?
$1 million.
Yeah,
another $1 million.
$1 million. Every snap is like $100 million. When they snap, $100 million come down, right? So the thing is, like, yes, I saw what Amazon did, and they have a better communication strategy right now, and they have a huge installed base of customers on the Prime service that if they wanted, they can bring right away. And we know this is a critical point right now for the streaming services, right? See what Google is doing, shipping like the Stadia controllers for free for those who has YouTube Premium.
Or
right?
Even if you buy Cyberpunk, you're gonna get one of these.
Yeah, I just got the pre-order, and I'm gonna get another one. I hope to get the black one, because the one that I'm missing.
Oh no, it's the Premier Edition. It's the one that comes with a Chromecast Ultra.
Yeah,
and you probably already have Chromecast Ultra. So
yeah, but again, that's like trying to enhance and increase the installed base of people playing your service. So that would be the battle, because it's just like was iTunes in the beginning, right? And just like it is any other service like Netflix, whatever, if you start to buy games inside that platform starts to have value for you more than any other, because your games are there. You cannot transfer from one place to another until everything becomes just a service. If you still need to buy games, that will be your library, that will be valuable for you. So capturing those people right in the beginning and putting there is quite important. But not only that, that's one of way fighting on the commercial side. Marketing will attract people. And the marketing of Stadia in the beginning was quite weird, though. Their advertisements are terrible.
Lame.
They're terrible. Don't explain well. It's crazy. The way they portray the service is not what games are looking for. They should be more engineering based, explaining this is cool, it's so cool, you can do that you cannot do with others, right? And not only on the graphics itself, trying to do something crazy that people say, not like that. And recently also, the way you manage on the community, because the event we have yesterday, the Hangout, right? Like we see Nintendo do the Nintendo Direct, PlayStation do their event as well, Xbox also do their own, to announce new titles, to announce new services, this kind of things. The event of yesterday is the typical, in my opinion, as a marketing professional, is the typical kind of event that a marketing manager will do just because they want to do something, not because they have something to do. And this is a problem because the event last night or last afternoon, depends where you are, was pretty much to me like two main features that is there already and 3 games that is there already as well, and no really news. You know, there's no really news.
Right.
For sure they brought like the some influencers, and then they announced a bunch of other influencers, right? But for someone like me watching that, it's a really wrong strategy in terms of creating an event for that. You could do something different. You could do an event that you have a name, and you make sure that for everyone that will not be about new things. That will be about our ambassadors or people that now is playing Stadia. It should be a different thing. And that can become a campaign if you do well. But the way they did was the worst event they did ever, just because everybody was expecting something more. Maybe more countries to be announced. Yeah. Maybe more features. They still need features to come on. They promise, and it's not there yet. So these kind of things we are expecting, you know, or a lot of new titles that was common on the market to see on Nintendo Direct or Xbox or PlayStation when they have this kind of events. They bring new titles, right? So this was missing. And that was my feeling. That was the worst Stadia event ever. And I got really pissed off because I love Stadia and I love the titles they show. Not Phoenix, not Phoenix Rising, because to me that's a ripoff of Zelda.
Breath of the Wild.
Yeah, it's too much, man. It's too much. But how do you feel about that? What's your point of view, your perspective on that?
So let's start with Breath of the Wild from Ubisoft because
gosh.
I know a lot of people who played that and already said, yes, the Breath of the Wild vibes are there, definitely. But indeed, at the end, it's a good game. And there is some kind of level of partnership with Stadia because they had the demo of that game on Stadia for free that anybody can play it. So that was something else. Now, this whole event, we on the community, the Stadia community, we actually said, you know what? It was kind of cool because, first of all, they brought these 2 big influencers. To be honest, I didn't know any of those 2. I'm not a WWE fan. And the girl, it's an actress on a network. But the event itself, it had the presentation of the features for the audience that those 2 people have. It's not for the audience of Google Stadia, because we as Stadia fans, we already know those features. So we know how crowd play works, we know how crowd choice works, but the audience that those people have, they don't have idea about that. So I feel like what they're doing, what they did with that event, and what they are doing with this week, that they are using big names to stream those games, they're introducing the technology for those viewers. Because right now on the whole web, Stadia is a joke. Everybody's saying, "Oh no, it's a dead platform. Oh, it doesn't work. The games are laggy. It doesn't have games." So Google paid big bucks to all of these streamers who will be doing streams using these features, which the audience of those guys doesn't know those features. And I feel like, for example, there's going to be a guy playing Dead by Daylight later today. When he's playing Dead by Daylight, there's going to be the crowd play button, beta, that Google is calling beta. It's not available to everybody yet. That if you click on that button, you will be able to play with the streamer. And those are like streamers with millions of followers. And everybody want to be playing with them. So they will be able to play the button, click a button, play the game with the streamer, and didn't pay anything. So I feel like using that kind of level of promotion, it's going to be good. But on the event itself, they presented the feature, see that the feature was working. They launched 2 games. There one game that we knew it was coming, called Outcasters, exclusive for Stadia, and we knew it was coming. We didn't have a release date for the game, so they decided, all right, let's do a shadow drop. And the strategy of shadow drop sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad. But that strategy yesterday, it was cool that no other platform can do this. You know what? This game is available right now, and you don't need to wait like 1 hour, 2 hours to download it. This game is available right now, and I'm gonna be playing this game with you. So just click this button here down below. You're gonna be joining the queue and gonna be playing this game with me.
But don't you think that that becomes really, really like in third priority on the streaming? Because the way they did it, okay, I got your point. You want to promote those things to the end user or their fans, right? So the right strategy, in my opinion, should be, okay, so this content should be streamed on their channels.
Right.
Not on Stadia channel. You can also stream if you want, but you have to make clear from the beginning, we're gonna have gameplay with big guys showing this and that. So then you do create some kind of expectation like I create. I know it's my fault as well, but also it's their fault because they didn't communicate well. So I create expectation like, okay, bring your news, show me something new that is happening, something that's compelling. I'm expecting something new. I'm expecting the promise. And then after that, you can bring all influencers you want. You can do all the gameplay you want. No problem. Do that.
The order of the show, right?
Yes, because then if, okay, I got the news, you can keep playing over there. I'm not interested in those guys. They're not someone that I'm following to watch, right? I'm on the Stadia channel. I'm not in their channel, not on the influencer channel to watch and enjoy their gameplay by their style. So then in two ways, the way they did it, like I never saw those people before. I'm not a big fan of those as well. But if you want to put on the Stadia someone doing something big, if it was Ninja, you know what I mean? If it was Shroud, if you are someone big, if those guys are there, and then Stadia want to say, okay, this is our new ambassador, that's a big news in terms of influencer, because those guys are huge, right? And bring them to the platform, whoa, right?
As ambassador, yes.
Yeah, so then that is a big news for itself. But those guys, they are big, they are famous, but not at the same level of those that I just mentioned here. And then Stadia on Stadia channel is still #1. And there's some comments here that I'd like to hear because they're really nice. So I'm gonna read some of them. The Ashes to Ashes say, very true, Big Ed Bear, trendsetter has a hard time knowing how to market until the public reacts. Yes and no. Yes and no. I tell you why. On the marketing side, you have tons of researchers and information from the public, how they behave, especially on a market like gaming. And we know that other companies try to do the cloud gaming, and it was well known when Stadia come, the problems of cloud gaming is not something new. And Stadia has a way better technology, and they couldn't communicate correctly the way better technology they have. And even the demos they did on GDC was not good enough. So if you don't have good enough demos to show to media, don't show it yet. Media, they just judge what they have in front of them. So those are bad decisions on the launch that was took and create a wave bad effect. And that's something that, if you think about the marketing mind, as a marketing professional, you only go to the audience. You only let the audience, no matter which audience you are, just media, just developers, whatever it is, when you are sure they will understand your proposal. If he is not ready for them, don't go. You're going to burn out yourself.
What I feel like it happened over there was Google saying, we are technology ready, so we just want to sell out the tech works, cloud gaming works, and everything else doesn't matter. We are not caring about marketing. We're not getting anything. We just want people to try and see that it works. And to this day, I feel like that's kind of the marketing that Google is following. It's people, please go ahead and try. I am giving you 1 month. I'm giving you 2 months for free.
So if you just go, they need that. Definitely. They need that, because now it's not about technology anymore, because they are in the top of technology right now. There's no cloud service just like Stadia right now. But the problem is, at the same time, they need more people playing, because the last number I got before this move of giving controllers for the YouTube Premium users, this kind of things, I remember the number of players was around 2.5 million, something like this, around that number. But when you look to the number of players on other platforms, it's like 100 million. Like, it's crazy.
But you got to remember as well that it's a brand new platform.
Yes,
right?
yes. So they are going for that. They have to make it easier to step in. They have to ease in. They have to find ways to promote the ease in. And I agree with that, because I'm a big lover of Stadia and I wanted to go forward and be successful. But analyzing the way they are doing this kind of marketing, it's really weird. Like, if they don't know what they're doing. And I know Google in general has problems with marketing. In general.
Yeah, it doesn't matter the country, right?
Yeah, this doesn't matter the country, doesn't matter even the service. So even with hardware, you see, like the Google Pixel, it's a big problem for them to market itself, to do the right product. It's always awkward somehow. Now they have a good product, but it's not a flagship. It's hard to explain. So even inside their own decisions on product or how to communicate the product, they have those problems. This is something inherent to Google, something that other companies solve already, how to do this or how to position themselves. And the Stadia is quite unique, because belongs to a market that was rejected a lot in the beginning because the technology wasn't ready, or those who had the technology wasn't ready. Stadia has a new approach for that. They have the best back end for that servers. They have the best AI people to develop, and they develop something really amazing. But the way they decide to bring that to public, there's a lot of small bad decisions that create a bad wave that now they have to wait. The time will clean it and they will grow for sure. And now they are growing, but the way they are growing, there's like pushing stuff on people, like, yeah, have it for free. I know if you don't have a good communication strategy, if you cannot create a desire for people to play your own, if you don't have exclusive content, because I talk to a lot of friends of mine on the market, they say when Stadia have a breakthrough game that is only available on Stadia, that's when they start playing, you know? That's when players will come.
But Marcel, let me ask you this. That is pretty clear if we think on the North American market or the European market, when people have the money to buy a new console. Like the sales of PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X, the new generation have been tremendously a success because everybody wanted to put money and get those new consoles. When Stadia launches, and by the way, let's just take a quick step back. There was a press release that mentioned Stadia will be launching in more countries before the end of the year. So today it's the 4th of December.
I was expecting. That's what I told you. I was expecting. Okay, so it's now. They're gonna say, and I was expecting they're gonna say, in my opinion, the countries that are not rich countries, because it's where Stadia make more sense, or any cloud service will make more sense.
Because they said initially on that press release, Stadia is launching before the end of the year in EMEA region. So just a few countries on Europe. But I was hoping they come in and say, we're launching in these European countries, and this is the plan for the next year on the countries that we plan to launch. And they haven't said anything.
So that's awkward. And Stadia Talk, he's saying here is spot on Eddie. North America, Europe versus emerging markets is different. Yes, definitely it's different. But what I'm saying is, and that's very important to understand, it's more compelling to have a cloud service on emerging markets, because it's such a big burden for people on emerging markets to buy a console. It's super expensive. There is way bigger taxes. Everything got even more expensive. Like if I translate back, how much costs right now a PS5 in Brazil is about $1,200 or more.
No, I even translate to I translate to minimum wage. Like in US, the minimum wage that with minimum wage, I think like within 1 month you can buy 4 PS5. In Brazil, it's 5 months. You buy one PlayStation 5
and don't buy food.
Yeah. No, it's everything only on the PlayStation 5.
Yeah,
Don't pay rent.
crazy, right? And some people, even in Brazil, there is a lot of friends of mine. They say, "Oh, this country is not ready for cloud gaming." I say it's the opposite. I say, "No, the internet infrastructure is not ready." Okay, if you have this kind of new service, for sure you must be in places where broadband is available. For sure, it's to be played at home. Come on, you play your PlayStation where? You take under your arm and go everywhere with your PlayStation or your Xbox? For sure not. For sure not. You put on your bedroom or your TV room or your living room, whatever is your central place to play that you love it, and stay there. Stay there will give you this extra mile. You can be anywhere with that. But the point is, you need to have internet. You need to have the best internet you can, the broadband internet, the cable internet, or fiber, whatever you have. And in Brazil, my friends say, "Oh, but you are in US. And US internet is way better." Come on, I live in Florida. I have only one option here of good internet. It's 400 megabits download that never reach 400 megabits download. It's always 300 something. And upload is 20. And that's the best they can give to my house here. That's the best plan. And I can have like something around 17, 11 milliseconds latest. In my house in Brazil, I have 800 megabits download, 150 upload, and my latency is about 5 milliseconds. So people has this distortion in mind that they need something really advanced. They need a lot of broadband. They need a really low latency, and the US is way better than other places. That's why you have it. And it's nothing like that. It's the wrong perception.
It even starts like in Brazil. I used to live like 100 kilometers from São Paulo, and I still had amazing good internet. I had like 400 down and 200 up on fiber. But Brazil doesn't have data caps. A third world country that doesn't have data caps, and US still have this big issue with data caps, and people say it's the big problem of cloud gaming. In Brazil, I know you probably know better than me, but I think like in India, there's also no data caps.
There's no data caps. I mean, if you're talking about if you're talking about mobile, there are data caps.
Yes.
If we're talking about
home internet.
If you but like when you're home internet, there are different plans, right? If we're talking about the basic plans or like for home, they may put data caps. They never really care about it. Like they say, okay, you have like 150 gigabytes of download or 300 gigabytes of download per month. But come on, you can surpass that, and nothing happens because the percentage is really low. What may happen is if someone is downloading terabytes, like 10, 20, 100 terabytes, then they will get in contact with you and say, you cannot stay on the home service, you need the business service, and it will be more expensive. So that's how it's dealt. It's there more to protect the whole network than to be effective as well. Just like Starlink, right? We see Starlink coming out now, and right now there's no data cap. But they say maybe in the future we may need to put some data cap just to make the system health. Not really to have a data cap just to avoid people to do it. But in the other point is, that's something that Google has to work with the operators and service providers for internet, just like Netflix and YouTube doesn't count for that data cap. Those services, they have agreement with Google, they have agreement with Netflix to not count on the data cap. Stadia also should not count on the data cap. And then this will not be a problem at all. And this is something that's a homework that Google has to do, the Stadia thing has to do with the main providers to give some peace of mind for those people who care about that.
That is true.
So if you think about the market itself and how a company like Google and how Stadia should work on the right things, number one, we know the problems. We all know the problems. Latency, bandwidth, data caps, availability,
bring the games,
and titles, right? So if you know those are the 5 points. Come on, create your marketing strategy, your communication strategy. Just do it. You are a big company. You have all the money in the world. You not only have the best technology, but you can have the best marketing guys and go to the market and explain to them that those points are solved. Instead of that, in the last hangout, they brought 2 influencers. Oh God, they brought 2 influencers that I never saw in my life to show stuff that is not the main points they have to solve right now. You cannot pretend people are not concerned about that, because we all know that's what avoiding people to get there, you know?
So, but I agree with you in parts of yesterday's show. For example, I wanted to see the new games in the news, and for that specific show, I wasn't caring about the gameplay because I just wanted to see the news and start to game myself. Like, I knew that Game Outcasters was going to be reviewed and released in that event, so I was caring about that one. Then they said, we're gonna have another things happening, so they announced another game for free releasing Shadow Dropping. They announced a game that they are developing for the next year, and then they had the interview. That were the announcements. If they put the announcements in order, I'm saying, all right, guys, now it's going to be time for gameplay with us. Stick around and let's start to play this button. That would be better.
Better organized in terms of organization of the event. But in general terms, the news are not compelling enough for an event like that. That's my point.
That's why maybe Google have done things before, like overhyping. Like when they did that good stuff event, they overhyped it for 1 week before. True. And when we got, it was 5-minute event, and it's over. So yesterday, a lot of people were complaining on the size of the event. From with that, previously we got 5-minute events, and yesterday was 1 hour and a half. People said, oh, okay, that's better.
But 1 hour and a half of boringness. Come on, I was so boring, so bored about it that when they start playing Bomberman. When they start playing Bomberman.
Bomberman is good.
No, I'm not. I don't hate the game, but come on, there's nothing new about this game. Come on.
I saw this.
Come on, that was the launch game on Nintendo Switch in 2017. So everybody knows this game.
It's different.
I know. They want to show the crowd. I know. But what I'm talking is, come on. I was so bored about that. I said, don't know why, guys, because I was doing the restreaming, right? Expecting something great. When reached that point, I couldn't take anymore. I said, okay, guys, you keep watching here on my channel. I go down on Chick-fil-A, buy some food and bring it back. That's what I did. I went, bought some food on Chick-fil-A, brought it back, and I ate here watching the end of the gameplay of Bomberman. A 2017 game.
But wait, again, Bomberman is great, and I will be playing with streamers. I already did streaming playing Bomberman, because that Bomberman that they have there, it's the Battle Royale Bomberman.
You have
64 players, and I feel, to be honest, I didn't watch the playing that.
Yeah, for sure, because it was fucking boring.
I was so already playing Outcasters. The Outcasters is great, by the way. I feel like it's gonna be next Fall Guys for sure.
It's hard to say if it's gonna be the next Fall Guys, because distribution problems, right? Where Stadia reach right now, and how fast this can grow. I need to try the game to tell you if I like it or not, but I understand the mechanics. It's in between Fall Guys and Brawl Stars, which is quite unique, and the graphics seems good, and the character seems adorable. So those things are like the ingredients to make a successful game right now on the current market we have.
And I think the mechanics of the game is not that easy, or it's easy to play, hard to master, as people say.
And it's cute. So you put a lot of things that trick your mind, right? It's cute, should be easy. It's not that easy. You can level up. So this kind of things are important right now. If you think about as a game, a title, okay? But the whole thing itself, even those 2 influencers, you know, they speak well. They're good speakers, right? The guy from, I forgot the name of the guy because I don't know him.
He has a YouTube channel for games called
Up, Down, Down.
Yes.
Yeah.
And he's you think, all right, the WWE superstar.
Yeah, something like this. So
the guy speaks let us know if you know the name.
But, you know, because I'm very familiar with the backstage of this kind of events, I saw how many times that guy has to solve problems of that event by himself.
Yes.
Like he tried to create some emotion because it was super boring. But the problem is there's no emotion because the way the things are presented are on some kind of a script. They have to follow that script. And that script is super boring itself. It doesn't enable emotions to come out. The guy tried. And because he tried doing the best he could to bring that script up and make it happen, he has to go through it. He started to say things that make no sense. Austin Creed. Stadia Talk just said it. Austin Creed, correct. Awesome guy, but like he keep this smile on the face like this. And he's talking and this smile, like if I'm talking to you, you keep like this all the time.
Yeah, I agree with you. Like,
why? Because it's fucking boring. And because it's fucking boring, I'm smiling all the time. So then you're looking to me and I'm happy enjoying, right? But I'm fucking bored about this. So
hashtag ad.
Yeah, so like keeping this smile all the time, that was a bad direction because you have to train before events like these, especially right now. I'm doing one for next week for ASUS, right? In Brazil. And it will be live streaming and we have the script and we talk about how we're going to present that. And if it's recorded, we do a lot of preparation on the recording. If it's not recording, we do 3-4 times the whole event before, real timing, just like a stream. We do the streaming, but only for us. And we check what is good, what is bad. And we got a director that will tell us, oh, this is not good. This sounds fake. We have to change that. We have to avoid that. So we have this kind of a direction. We have more people involved. It's not only the ones you are seeing over there. There's tons of people working in the backstage and helping to make that good, at least to look good, right? And I felt that this is missing over there, or they don't have good direction somehow, and they find themselves on some traps during the streaming that they have to show some, like I remember when the guy finished the first complete
Outcasters play.
Yeah, he say, "Oh, we have to do 2 more, right?"
Yes,
but like, okay, he was smiling, but I could feel on his voice like he didn't enjoy the game. He has to do another 2. It's not like, oh, I love it, let's go for another one. It's a different, the direction was missing. A director was missing to say, okay, this is the right way to, conduct that, to communicate that. And this guy is receiving a lot of information because when you're doing streaming, if you train well, you should not receive other information around. It'll distract you. You're going to lose the connection with the audience, And this guy, all the time, someone was saying something to him or giving some kind of input to him, was distracting him, and he has to regain the traction again with the audience. But I'm talking about the technical part of the presentation itself, yeah. But what makes me feel bad in the end is they try to do something good, but they fail miserable because they don't understand yet their own community. That's the feeling I got from this event particular, in particular this event. The other events, I agree with you, like the good stuff was overhyped and then 5 minutes and say, what? Okay. But there is new titles, Like, for instance, 2 days before this event, they drop all the pro games, the free games on pro, right?
Yes.
Hitman 2 is there. That's amazing. They don't mention.
Yes.
They didn't mention that.
Well, at the end, they could have reinforced the message. Yeah, if you subscribe, you have access right now to 33 games to try for free.
So the feeling I have is like this. The internal teams, they're not talking well with marketing, or marketing is not, or marketing is not doing the job to create the bond, create like the glue between the areas. So when we communicate, because I do that inside the company in ASUS, especially ASUS Brazil now, we are doing that, how we put things together, all the areas, sales, product area, availability, everything has to come together. You cannot launch a product if those things are not together. And which is the most important thing to talk? What are the things that are not important that I can discard? So I keep the communication clear in one direction. So those things, they're not happening now. And it get me so mad because I want Stadia to really succeed, man. I want Stadia to become the #1. And I'm here to help, but they, come on! I felt so frustrated.
Let me ask you this. PlayStation is great. PlayStation has great titles, and they are trying to sell a box. Same thing as Xbox, and same thing with Nintendo. Nintendo presents their amazing IPs, which, by the way, I want to go to Tokyo so bad because that park, with the Nintendo park. But anyway, we'll talk about that on the other time. But they're just trying to sell the hardware because it's where they make the money. Stadia, it feels
that's not true. That
they make money with the games, right?
I think the only one that is still making money with hardware is Nintendo. I think is the only one. The others, they subsidize. So the hardware is way more expensive than we are paying for, although it's still expensive.
Okay. So I feel like what Google is trying to do right now, it's present their platform to the new users. And you were right. An exclusive, it's something that will bring people to play on the platform because they already have whatever they need to play. So if we're talking about North America, Europe, people who already have their dedicated hardware to play, there's no reason for them to play on Stadia. Well, I'm gonna play on Stadia. I already have my PlayStation 5. I'm gonna play on Stadia. I already have my Nintendo Switch or my powerful PC. Why I'm gonna buy Cyberpunk on Stadia? I don't need. So for these people, Google it's trying to approach it like introducing to Stadia world. Like you have all of these games that you can play here, and you don't need to buy a console. But whatever for these people. I feel like the huge advantage Stadia will be was when it arrives in Brazil, when it arrives in India, when it arrives in third world countries, when people will say, okay, I want to play Cyberpunk. What I gotta do? I just buy the game Cyberpunk and I play it. I don't need to buy a hardware or anything. I can use any controller that I want just to play it. I feel like until that time arrives, Stadia is just gonna continue going around the circle, and as long as we are here, guys, we're bringing you the games you want. It's here, and when like a Call of Duty arrives on Stadia, and they can say, you have that 100 gigabytes update on Stadia, you don't need that. That's the kind of thing that I believe that it doesn't make sense to market that kind of things. Saying cloud gaming, you don't need to download, you don't need to do anything else.
For sure.
You just click and play.
For sure. But, okay, I think for different markets, you should have different approaches. Remember that culture has strategy in the breakfast every morning. So your strategy will not work everywhere the same. You have to adapt because there are different cultures and different particulars of each country and people. Stadia or cloud gaming as a service, it's perfect for emerging markets where consoles, hardware, is quite expensive. It's way more expensive than Europe and US. And also the income levels are lower. So people don't have buying power that much. And this makes a lot of sense for that region. And for that, you could think that probably the best markets to start for Stadia would not be countries of the first world or countries that are the top tier countries in terms of wealthy or the population access to goods or the buying power. Should be the other countries that are the opposite, because the value proposition is there already, just by itself, just by not being the need to buy a console. The value proposition is huge for those regions, for those countries. But on the other hand, they may have some kind of research or numbers because they are Google and they know, broadband is more available here and there. You know what I mean? So the available market is there, and they totally disregard the gaming market. And then they think about this instead of thinking, okay, it's wrong. We should go to places where the value proposition of cloud gaming make more sense first. And then when we have titles that make sense to be exclusive, those titles will make the difference for any market. Because if you have exclusive, let's say right now, okay? Let me put it this way. If right now it's impossible, but right now, Stadia have exclusively Doom Eternal, exclusively Spider-Man Miles Morales, exclusively Phoenix, whatever copy of Zelda. You know what I mean? If it's exclusively for them, they're gonna say, "Wow, they have titles people want to play somehow." You know, the companies who's doing that, gosh, I want to have Stadia to play that, so I'm gonna play that on Stadia. And if you look to Microsoft, they know that they just bought ID software. Yeah. They bought the Doom and many other titles they do, but they bought the Doom thing. So the titles
Elder Scrolls, Doom,
yeah. Because if you think through, and I believe Microsoft will jump very hard by next year, some moment on the cloud gaming, because they are making available. And even Phil Spencer, he just mentioned, oh, it would be nice to have an Xbox in a stick, which is a Chromecast. Yeah, it's a Chromecast somehow. So because that's cloud gaming, you know, because they know the emerging markets, they know this will change the way, but you need to have a packet. You know, you need to have a package. Don't sell as Chromecast. I told that last time on your interview. Remember that when I participated in your interview?
No, sure, like, yes.
Stadia should get the Chromecast as it is. Change the housing, change the outside, create like a small console. You know, you plug your HDMI over there and call it this Stadia console or something like this. You know, the Stadia video game. Don't say it's a Chromecast. It is a Chromecast inside, but if you're doing this way, a lot of people will accept it better, because for them, this is the console. It's quite cheap. Come on, quite cheap. You have the console, have the controller, it's a package, you plug and play and go forward. It will break a lot of barriers for a lot of people, even being the cloud service. It will break a lot of barriers like, okay, I need the console, and this console is super cheap and the graphics are super good. And there's no download, it's amazing. So you kind of change the perception of the current market perspective, especially markets like US and Europe, where they are very used to that and very traditional on this buying behavior. But yes, they should go to emerging markets as soon as they can.
Yeah, like Xbox already have a right in Brazil with xCloud, Project xCloud over there. There are some people using, and people are indeed saying it's not great. It works, but it's not great.
It's not great yet, but it's there, and they start to talk about.
But they are already officially there. They're implementing servers everywhere. And I know people in Brazil using VPNs. They are having better experience than xCloud, which is local. So it is crazy. It's just Google needs to at least communicate when they want to expand the service, because it has been 1 year already and they said they were going to be expanding the service and there has been no news. I just want them to come forward, say, hey, this is where we are expanding, because I feel like the expansion is the next big part that they need to go, because they already got the studios. I think they have 4 studios working like on exclusive games. And yesterday they announced a partnership with another indie studio, a renowned indie studio that's making games for Stadia. And I just want that big game that Stadia will be developing for their first party big exclusive. I feel like it's gonna be a game that cannot be done nowhere else, because it's cloud based. Even we have xCloud, we have GeForce Now, but right now we're just, it's as we joke about, there's no cloud. It's just someone else's computer. That's the cloud that these services are presenting. There's no actually a cloud. You're just renting a Xbox that is somewhere else. With Google Game, it's completely different. It's the whole cloud is one only PC and only one game. That will take another 4 or 5 years to arrive, but in the meantime, they just gotta keep expanding the service.
You know, I still believe we are presencing the last generation of consoles. Maybe Sony will be the one to launch a next one, but the only one, because until there, by the time new consoles arrive, like 4 or 5 years time gap between one and another, this will be the last one for Microsoft. They should invest heavily on cloud and transition people for the next Xbox to be on cloud. You know, I think that's something they may pursue, and they have the capability to that.
I feel like what Xbox is doing, they're already putting a strong focus on the brand Game Pass. I feel like some parts they promoted more the branding Game Pass than the brand Xbox.
True.
So I feel like Xbox is going on that direction. PlayStation have already changed it. All right, no, we're doing the PlayStation 5 Pro next. There's a patent that appeared on the internet this week. So PlayStation is going to continue to focus on hardware at least for a bit, but Xbox, Amazon, and Google are already thinking on a 10-year game when PlayStation is still thinking, all right, I got 7 years on this generation. The past generation was great with some great titles. So this generation, it's not that much graphical fidelity can evolve because we kind of reached a plateau. What they can add is reflections with ray tracing and load times.
That's hard to say. There's always something else. There's always something else. It's human evolution. There's always something else that will appear. But Eddie, 1 hour, more than 1 hour already. This conversation was super good, man.
Man, it's always a pleasure, Marcel, talking to you and talking about cloud gaming, Stadia. The future of gaming, it's exciting.
Yeah, definitely. So how people can find you? Just give your final word here and where they can find you.
Yeah, so Marcel, once again, thanks for having me. It was great. Everybody can find me at EddiePlayer1 on Twitter and on YouTube channel. My content's mostly focused on Stadia, but I even sometimes I'm talking about other platforms as well. And right now I'm gonna be focusing on Outcasters for the next 6 days, and then nobody will find me because I'm gonna be on Night City on Cyberpunk.
Oh, same here.
I Lock the door. Bye, kids. Bye, wife.
Bye. Okay, thank you, Eddie.
Thank you, Marcel.
Okay, guys. So that was Eddie Player One. It was a very good conversation about creating content on Stadia for this very early stage, and also a very good conversation about Stadia as a whole. In the end, it was really nice to have Eddie here. And that's it. Hope to see you soon, folks.